Hi, this is Shannon Elliott with Teach Asana, and today we're going to talk about side crow and how to help some of your students take flight. So when we first set up, whichever way you're having them come into their squat, everything becomes one unit. So there's sort of a way that when we come down, we can just sort of hang out. Right? But we want to teach them as soon as they come down, squeeze in so that they're getting the power through the legs and up through the core and that lift initially. So not sinking down, but instead squeezing the legs together. And then once you have the squeezing of the legs together, it's like chair, Utkatasana, and then you come into your twist. So you lift up and you get them into their twist as deep as they can. And then once you find your twist, right hand down, and just like downward facing dog. Okay, and then the left hand not in under the hip, right? There's a tendency that we want to go really close with the hands. It feels more stable. But side crow being on one arm. So we're going to take it out to the side, give ourselves some space. So usually I'll say like behind the hip in the same line as your right hand. And then the shift in is that initially we lift the hips. Okay, and then walk the feet over to the side, right? So we're not going to stay here. We're going to work in, lift the hips, squeeze the legs, walk the feet, and then bend the elbows towards chaturanga until the feet lift up, right? Again, tendency, we pop the feet up because we want to get that feeling. But it's this willingness to take the chest forward, feet lift up. Okay. Blankets, of course, great option underneath the face for those people that have the setup and are just nervous about shifting forward. Okay, again, just as it is set, so being a one-arm pose, right? We just want to see the difference when we come in on the arm, so that we have the hips on two arms. If you just watch what happens to the shoulders, right? The shoulders dump forward, and it's a weight-bearing pose on the shoulders, and the shoulders are rounded and unplugged, and it's just not very safe. Okay, so the one arm, we lift the hips, walk the feet, and bend forward. And you bend forward so much that the feet lift up. Another way to get the placement of the shoulders. If you set your blocks so that they're shoulder distance apart, and then work same alignment. Okay, so you're going to come in, squeeze the legs, come into your twist. So you hook that arm as deep as you can. Place the hands. Okay, lift the hips, walk the feet forward, okay, and then bend so that the shoulders come onto the blocks, and then they can get the feeling of where the shoulders are and come into the balance. Okay, and then one last way, and there's a level of flexibility that has to happen. Okay, so people that are ready and just can't quite mentally do the bow forward, place the hand, come onto the forearm. Okay, so the forearm again is that space, not in super tight, and you want the elbow in line with your right hand. Okay, so elbow in line with right hand, have the spacing, down dog through the hands. And then lift the hips, walk the feet to the side, bow forward, and play with lifting the hips up. And that'll give someone the feeling and start to build up their confidence of what it's like to lean forward so much that the feet lift off. Okay? So just to review, okay, power through the legs, squeeze in, not sink down. Okay? Squeeze in, find your twist, place your hand, place the other hand behind the hip in the same line with your left hand. Okay, lift the hips, walk the feet, okay, and then start to come forward until the feet lift up. Okay, and then you could play with even straightening your right arm. Okay. So hopefully that will help some of your students get the feeling of what it's like to lift off in side crow. Thank you so much for visiting us. We really appreciate it. Namaste.